Virgo, welcome to your tarot reading for the week of June 4th through the 10th. It's Rena here. I'm shuffling the cards. This is the Wild Unknown Tarot deck that you may have seen me use in another video or two. This is a general focus. Only thing about these cards is trying to lift them up because, oh, isn't that beautiful? These are like pen and ink drawings. When cards are pretty new, sometimes they're a little bit, hard to lift. Okay. Alrighty then. Let me just gather the rest of these, just to have them on the side. We'll put them there so you can see the back of them. Okay. The heart of the matter is the Ten of Swords. So, if you're familiar with the tarot to some degree, you probably know that the Ten of Swords is a card of feeling stabbed in the back, obviously, metaphorically speaking. And so this can be a card of feeling like somebody has betrayed you, somebody that you put your faith in, that you put trust in, kind of let you down in some way. So there can be that feeling of, oh, whatever comes along with that feeling of disappointment. The number 10, though, is the end of a cycle. So basically what this can mean is that although you may be feeling a sense of betrayal, that betrayal is kind of at the end of its, what would you call it? You've hit bottom in terms of that, and you're going to heal. Whereas sometimes, like we have there's the Three of Swords, right? Obviously, if there's a Ten of Swords, there's a Three of Swords. And that card relates to that sense of rejection. But just think of it. You can be in a relationship with somebody and they cheat on you, and you don't just say, okay, that's it, I'm never talking to you again, having anything to do with them. You might take them back or believe what they say, and then they do it again, and then you realize that's it. So this could be something that has been happening for a long time, and you've decided that that's the last time that this person's going to do it to you. And by the way, this does not necessarily have anything to do with a romantic situation. You can get betrayed at work. Maybe by a coworker that you trust that's really like not on your side, or maybe by a boss who keeps promising you things and doesn't deliver. So it can happen anywhere with any type of relationship. But I will say, obviously, I do think that it's going to be with a relationship. I don't think you can get betrayed by an inanimate object unless you keep buying from a certain company, I guess, that keeps letting you down with the lack of quality of their products. But to me, there's an emotional component to this, even though this is swords. So this is going to be related to the mental realm, communications, having communications with somebody where they are being, what's the word, like gossiping, or I was going to say disloyal, but I mean they're kind of not keeping your communication with them very, very like personal, confidential, and things like that. And it's happened too many times, and so it could be even like with a friend, and you've just decided that you're not going to trust them anymore in that way. You may not stop talking to them, and you may not tell them that you're through trusting them, but you just have decided mentally that you're not going to do that anymore. So what I'm trying to say is that even though people might think this is a negative card, it really can point to a turning point in your sense of empowerment, where you're able to see things as they really are, Virgo, and move on from there. What kind of complicates things, crosses the reading, is represented by the Hermit, which is your card. It's connected to Virgo. So in this particular position, because the Hermit card can be talking about wisdom, this is almost like ignoring wisdom. Maybe being too much in your head, maybe trying to look at things too practically instead of looking at them from the spiritual point of view. And that a lot of times, like for instance, in a personal relationship, let's use that as an example. If a person is like cheated on by a partner, and maybe they have a history of this, let's say that some Virgos are experiencing that, and they have a history of dealing with infidelity in relationships, what does that say? Is it just that they have bad luck and they're just attracting people randomly? Or does it say that perhaps they're not choosing wisely and they are attracted to people for the wrong reasons? What's one of the biggest ways that people are attracted to a potential partner? Well, looks. If somebody puts too much emphasis on the physical, then they are going to likely find that appearances can be deceiving. Or they may be impressed by somebody because they have a lot of money, they have a job that confers high status or something like that, and that kind of feeds into their ego, because then they feel special that they're with this person who is so special. And then they find out that, yeah, okay, they're with somebody who has a lot of money, but they have very little morals. They're not nice to other people. They're not nice to the Virgo. So it's a learning experience to realize that all of these things that society kind of looks up to in terms of like, oh wow, this makes somebody a real good person. This could actually indicate something that's just on the surface, that's not really who they are, and the Virgo person might find out the hard way that they're being treated in a disrespectful manner within that relationship. And that's where wisdom comes in. And always seeking wisdom. At the foundation of this reading, we have the Son of Pentacles, and this is kind of indicating like the history behind this situation. And the Son of Pentacles that's a Page of Pentacles, so this may be a new relationship. So perhaps in some cases, this is a relationship that is just underway. Perhaps on one party's part. Maybe somebody else found a relationship that suited them better. So maybe there's a sense of feeling betrayed, but on the other person's part, that person that they met is much better suited for them. This could involve an earth sign individual. So you're an earth sign, Capricorn is an earth sign, Taurus is an earth sign. In some cases, the person may be younger. So if you're like an older person and your partner left you for a younger person, that could be what it is. If you're at work and you got stabbed in the back, perhaps the person who got your promotion, or who is, maybe somehow you're being kind of shoved to the side for a younger person. But understand that there may be other things at play. Remember that if somebody treats you shabbily, Virgo, do you think that they're going to treat the other person with respect? It may look like it on the surface. Like, let's say you're at work and you've been there for 10 years and some hot young thing comes along in terms of like, wow, you know, a bright, shiny object, and the boss starts really favoring that person and they get on the fast track above you and all this, this stuff. And you feel like you're slighted. You feel like you're left to the side. Understand something. The boss is looking at it from what they stand to gain. Same with if you've been married for 30 years and your partner runs away with some hot young thing. You may say, oh, I'm no good. I'm middle-aged and this person is in their early 20s and obviously my spouse thinks they're better than I am. But is the spouse really in love with that person, or are they using them sexually? Are they using them to bolster their ego, to say, hey, I still got it. I can get this hot young thing. And what is that person, you know, interested in your partner for? Is it for their soul, or is it for their pocketbook? So on the surface, it can look like, oh, wow, you know, these things are happening for one reason, but really they're happening for selfish reasons. And that goes back to the hermit in this position is scorning wisdom, is not really listening to wisdom. And that's what might have gotten you where you are. But there's always that sense of wisdom. The higher message is represented by the Temperance card, which is connected to Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign. Perhaps there's a Sagittarian out there who is right for you, either romantically or they're of help to you in some way. Maybe you should be listening to this Sagittarian. I'm a Sagittarian. Listen to me. No, I'm just kidding. But temperance, to me, sometimes can be addiction issues. Maybe you need to get sober. Maybe somebody else needs to get sober. And that is really what they need to do first and foremost. All this other stuff is just window dressing. You know, sometimes when people decide that they have had enough of their pain, they will go to therapy. But they won't tell their counselor, oh, I drink every night, or I smoke pot every night, or I, pop Vicodin every day. And the counselor might not even ask that. And that's crazy, because it's not to say that the addiction is at the root of the problem, but it certainly has to be dealt with before you can even get to the feelings and all that stuff, because it really does come in between a person and their life and being able to heal their life. So for some people, it may be something as basic as that. For other people, temperance, and remember, this is a spiritual position, so this isn't so much about mundane advice. And when I say that about the sobriety, it's not really mundane advice, because that can affect you even spiritually to have an addiction. It affects every aspect of your life. But in other aspects, the Temperance card can be talking about not going to extremes. So about, kind of like balance in some ways. So, for instance, sometimes when people get betrayed, they say, well, I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to date this type of person. I'm never going to, and they just overreact to the situation. And it shows within themselves, perhaps, that they have some issues surrounding their attitudes being kind of out of whack, of being a little bit extreme. And I don't see that with a lot of Virgo people. That I think Virgo people tend to be very sensible and not kind of extreme. But if you have like Scorpio in your chart, for instance, you can be very, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or nothing about things. And, you can think like that, where you think all or I would say also with temperance, I'm thinking about the card itself with the Rider-Waite deck, about the angel, 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land. So because you're an earth sign, the land part you have down pat. You really know how to be grounded. But getting to that spiritual side where you can see the bigger picture and see things from a non-material point of view might be the area that you are in need of improvement or more attention. I don't know. That's what I get from that card. This is the card of practical advice, the Daughter of Cups, Page of Cups, and this is a card. Now, it can be a situation, maybe this is more what it's about, is that some Virgos may be too naive. The Page of Cups can be naive, and that you have to learn how to be more discerning in relationships. It's hard for me to even say that. I was thinking that is bizarre because usually Virgos are very critical. But it seems to me, based upon the way I see life, is that sometimes some of the most exacting people have these little pockets of vulnerability where they allow all kinds of nonsense. And maybe that's in romantic relationships for you, Virgo, where you tolerate what other people would find intolerable. And I would say that even to a Scorpio. I'm sure there are Scorpio people who are like cutthroat in a lot of ways, and then in relationships they're almost masochistic. And there can be various reasons for this, but just in case that's the true for you, because your opposite sign is Virgo, and a lot of times I do see the tendency of the opposite sign influencing the person. There always is that link between us and our opposite signs. So for you, that could be the same issues that Pisces deals with, which I think this card is connected to. What is coming in is represented by the Mother of Cups, the Queen of Cups. This is a psychic card. This is that intuition, that sense of knowingness that guides you on in a way that can help you in so many areas. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, so the mind is always valued by a Virgo person, but just by being able to tune in more, like I was saying, to the spiritual side, that can help you immensely in every area of life. And that includes your professional life as well, but also who is right for me in my romantic life. Who can I really trust? And if somebody betrays me, what does that say about me? These are the kind of issues that may be valuable to kind of toss in your head. And then the outcome, the Daughter of Wands, Page of Wands, hearing good news. A lot of these cards to me seem like internal work. And the Page of Wands could be you getting a phone call, getting an email, getting a letter that just kind of breaks through all of the introspection, and maybe it's a new job that you've been wanting, kind of like your dream job, and you're like totally stoked. Or maybe you hear from somebody that you always had a crush on, or maybe it's a past relationship that you felt was the right person, and now they're free. They're out of their relationship. So that could be a message that is very exciting, or even like a new beginning. Pages can be like aces, new beginnings with something, a job or a relationship that really generates enthusiasm within you. Whereas before, you may have been feeling very emotional and maybe a bit jaded. And now you feel a lot more positive and surging with optimism. Okay, wow. Virgo. I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, the link to my website, rainamoonastrology.com, is below. Take care. Bye.